Umbreon is a big fan favorite and prices for Umbreons have been going up across the board, especially of course for the Umbreon Alt Art from Evolving Skies. Today we're looking at the top 10 most expensive modern Umbreon cards. Let's get into it. So Umbreons have been going up across the board, not just in Evolving Skies, but in other sets as well, and there are some gorgeous looking Umbreon cards. We know there are. Now, Umbreon is one of my favourite Pokemon, and it is a favourite Pokemon amongst you guys, especially Evolutions. They've been doing so well. So today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 most expensive modern Umbreon cards. What do you think will be number 1? Well, we're going to find out right now. Coming number 10, we have the Fuller Umbreon V from Evolving Skies. So we're starting off with Evolving Skies. Kind of a trend here, okay? We're looking at English cards only. Let's take a look at this. So 30 euros on Card Market, 19 on TCG and 17 on eBay. This in a PSA 10 is going for $67, which is actually pretty good for a regular full art. That I am actually quite impressed with. In the PSA 9, we're looking around about $30, which isn't that impressive. In a CGC 9.5, this is going for an average of 45, which is actually pretty poor compared to the PSA 10 of 67. So this card has actually been pretty steady over the past 6 months, especially in graded prices and especially in raw prices. So we're starting off pretty strong. We're starting off pretty strong. And of course, it has to be in Evolving Skies. Coming number 9, we have the Umbreon from Pokemon Celebrations. Coming in around about $20 on TCG Player and about $19 to $20 on eBay. PSA 10 around $75. Over here, you can pick this up for around about £15 to £20. Not massively expensive, but pretty much the same to what it is over in the US. Ton of these in a 10. Like, Celebrations did get graded very heavily, and that's probably one of the reasons why the graded prices are not that strong, even for the Charizard. So this Umbreon, we're looking at $75 in a PSA 10, only $30 in a PSA 9. I mean, it's worth getting it graded, of course, but yeah, I mean, there is a ton of them around, so it's not, a huge amount of value. But we take a look, and I mean, the PSA 10 price has kind of been like a yo-yo for the longest time. It's kind of settled recently, and same with the the raw price has settled out quite recently. So yeah, around $20 for the Umbreon. Then we have the Umbreon VMAX. This is the Trainer Gallery one from Brilliant Stars. Gorgeous looking card, really nice. So $20 on eBay, 21 on TCG Player, and 25 on Card Market, which isn't that bad. This tends to go for around about £20, £22 over here. And in the PSA 10, we're looking at 52. Absolute ton of these in a 10. Now the thing is with Brilliant Stars is a great set to get graded. You do get a lot of 10s. So it's just going to make the pop of these absolutely huge, and that's what's happened. $52 isn't that massive, but in a PSA 9, you're looking around about 23. And as you can see from the PSA 10 prices, guys, it has been declining over the past 6 months because, people are getting the cards more and more graded, and it grades well. It really does grade well. In the CGC 10, though, this does go for 300. Big card in the CGC 10. So if you can get a CGC 10, it's pretty good. 9.5, $40, pretty weak. But that CGC 10, if you can get it, that's actually a pretty good one. Next up, we have the Rainbow VMAX from Evolving Skies. This Umbreon is very nice indeed. 42 on Card Market, 30 on TCG Player, and 26 on eBay. This does tend to go for around about £30 over here. 25, 30, all depending on obviously the condition of the cards. PSA 10 though, 85. Okay, that's not too bad. There is quite a lot of them in a PSA 10. PSA 9, $45. It's not too bad. CGC 10 though, 65. That is actually quite low. So this is a big card in a PSA 10. PSA 10 prices though, they kind of been pretty stable, to be honest, over the past 6 months, which is actually pretty impressive. I don't know what's going on here with the PSA 9 price. I kind of shot up and just went back down. But even the raw price has been declining recently, so quite interesting. But it is a gorgeous card though from Evolving Skies. Then we have the Umbreon and Darkrai GX Tag Team. This is a Black Star promo. I've never seen this card before, and it's really nice. $35 on TCG Player and about 18 raw on eBay, which is kind of odd. Maybe it's based on the condition. But if we look at the PSA 10 price, this has actually been doing pretty well. We're looking back, 6 months ago, it's 141. And it's ended at around that 166. I mean, it did reach above 200, 220 at one point, which is actually pretty high. The raw price, though, however, has actually dropped. So it was being pretty steady, and it has dropped recently. Of course, that is on eBay. On TCG Player, it's been pretty stable over the past few months. So this is still a massive card. In the CGC 9, though, $28. Yeah, that's pretty poor. But 166 in a PSA 10, that's pretty good. All right, then we have the Fuller Umbreon EX from Fates Collide. I actually have this. I think I have this in a PSA 9. But this is a really nice card. And we're looking at 43 euros on Card Market, $33 on TCG Player, and again, cheaper on eBay, probably based on the condition, right? PSA 10 price though, pretty impressive. Was 260, Okay, and it did go kind of up and down, up and down. It had this weird drop for like half a month. It was like 1, 2, 3. And then it bounced back really high at 350 in a PSA 10. Big money card, big money card. The price difference between a 10 and a 9 is huge. Mainly because the pop is actually quite low on this compared to the 9. So maybe this is going to be tough to get in a 10. I mean, mine didn't get a 10. I mean, mine probably wasn't the best condition either. And then $42 for a CGC 9. Big card to get graded. If you have one in PSA 10, this is actually worth a lot of money. Okay, next we have the Umbreon Rainbow GX from Sun and Moon base. Now you may be thinking, really? And I'm like, yeah. I was quite surprised too. 38 euros on Card Market, 35 on TCG Player, and 30 raw on eBay. This is slightly more raw than the previous one, although the previous one in a PSA 10 does go for a lot more. $127 for a PSA 10 in this one, and we're looking at 54 in a 9. So the PSA price is kind of been a bit all over the show. It was around 116. Then it kept trickling up, and then it went to as high as 260, and then it dropped back down, and it's kind of been up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's kind of sailed at that 127, which is kind of where it was 6 months prior. And we take a look at this, and the raw prices have been kind of pretty steady, although the raw price on eBay has been dropping for this card as well, but then it did bounce back up quite recently. Same on TCG Player. Then we have the shiny Umbreon GX from Hidden Fates. I absolutely love this card. I'm so happy to have it in my collection. 120 euros on Card Market. Super pricey. 106 on TCG Player, and again on eBay. I think it's just based on that condition why it's so cheap. PSA 10 though, loads in a PSA 10. Over 3,000, but nearly $200 even though there's 3,000 of them. Pretty crazy. PSA 9 holding, I would say strong. It sounds like a high number, but in comparison to how much the card is going for, not that great in a 9. CGC 9.5 looking about $137, so that's actually not too bad, not quite as good as that PSA 10 though, although the PSA 10 price has been going up across the board over the past 6 months. Was it 162, 160 actually, and like I say now 191, this card's been going up, and we've been seeing the raw price of the card go up as well. Was around $68, actually lower, 63, and it did actually reach raw at 90 on eBay, and it's kind of settled, but across the board TCG Player as well has been going up for this card. Coming into the final two, we have the Umbreon Ultra V from Evolving Skies. This is the other Umbreon, as it were. 120 on Card Market, 88 on TCG Player, and 78 on eBay. Again, high amount of PSA 10s, but still holding a price tag of $200, which is very good. And then we're looking at PSA 9, $95. Okay, it's a bit less kind of what it is. But then if we look at the PSA 10 price, this is again, prices again cheaper and easier to grade your cards again. So now we're looking at 266, and it's just been dropping over the past 6 months from 266 to 200. That's a lot of money drop. And the single card price, the raw card price, was pretty steady, but recently there was a turning point, and on all of them, whether it's Card Market, TCG Player, and eBay, they've all dropped in price. So this card, I don't know if it will hold the second spot for the longest, but we'll have to wait and see. Evolving Skies cards have been doing really well, although this Umbreon, not the greatest. Then of course, who would have guessed it? Coming at number 1 is the Umbreon VMAX Ultra. Now this card has a lot in a PSA 10, but let's look at the raw price. 679 on Card Market, 629 on TCG Player, and 566 on eBay. Over here the prices can really vary. I've seen some sell from anywhere from 550 to 650, so it really does depend on the condition and the quality. PSA 10, nearly $1,000. Even though there's over nearly 5,500 of these, that is ridiculously impressive. Now I have one myself in PSA 10. I'm super happy to have that. PSA 9, it's kind of what it is raw, right? There's a lot of PSA 9 around, and then we got the rest. CGC in a 10, we're looking at 1.2k. Big money card in a 10. 9.5, looking around about 800. So it is more in a PSA 10 compared to a 9.5. However, a CGC 10 is 300. Is $200 more than the PSA 10. If we look at the PSA price, it was about 1k, and then it actually dipped to around 789, $790. The Umbreon has been going back up over previous months, especially in raw prices as well. As we can see, it was around about 400 if you could pick it up for 420, 415, and look at that, it's just been going up ever since, and we're seeing insane card prices for this card. I expect it's going to break 700 before we know it raw, and PSA 10 will break over 1,000 again. So yeah, Pretty big card. So there you have it, guys. Those are the top 10 most expensive modern Umbreon cards. Let me know down in the comments which ones do you have, and is there any that you want to pick up for your collection. There are a few I'm missing. I do want to get the Rainbow Sun and Moon base Umbreon. That is really nice, and that Black Star promo. I really like Darkrai, and that tag team looks super sweet, so I might have to go and pick that one up myself. But these cards are very expensive, and I do expect some of these to go up even more, especially in harder to get sets. Things like Hidden Fates, and of course now Evolving Skies. Umbreon, huge fan favorite. It's been doing incredibly well, and I do expect a lot of these cards to continue to do well in the future. And I would also say keep an eye out for any future Umbreons that will be coming out in future sets. We've been seeing this with Charizard. Obviously Charizard has been the one that's been carrying a lot of these sets. I think it's now moving over to especially the evolutions, and we've seen that in the Sword and Shield era a lot. And I think we're going to see it in the Scarlet and Violet era too. If you want to know great modern Charizards to pick up, make sure to click on this video right here. And if you want more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that is it from me in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends. And I'll see you in the next one.